The crystalline throne room of the Draikari Empire fell silent as Austin stepped through the massive doors, his worn combat boots echoing against polished obsidian floors. Behind him, wrapped in a tattered thermal blanket and leaning heavily on his shoulder, walked someone the Empire had mourned for 3 long years. Princess Megan, daughter of Empress Salithkar, was supposed to be dead. The Empress rose from her throne, her scales shimmering from deep purple to blood-red a color Austin had learnt meant shock among the Drakari. Her tail, thick as a tree trunk and lined with bioluminescent ridges, swept across the floor in an unconscious gesture of distress. "Impossible," the Empress whispered, her voice reverberating through the chamber like distant thunder. "My daughter fell at the siege of Varos Prime. We recovered her ship. Her ashes were scattered in the eternal nebula." Austin kept his expression neutral, though exhaustion threatened to buckle his knees. He'd been awake for 72 hours straight, navigating through 3 contested systems and 2 blockades to get here. "With respect, Your Majesty, you recovered someone's ashes, but not hers." Megan lifted her head, revealing features that were unmistakably Drakari elegant reptilian structure, golden eyes with vertical pupils, and small horns curving back from her temples. But where her scales should have been a healthy azure blue, they were dull and cracked. Where her frame should have been powerful, she was gaunt, malnourished. "Mother," Megan said, her voice hoarse from years of silence and captivity. The Empress descended from her throne in 3 enormous strides, her clawed feet clicking against the floor. She stopped just short of her daughter, as if afraid this vision might shatter. How Austin cleared his throat. "The Korvax don't take prisoners as a rule, but they make exceptions for high-value targets. They've been holding her in a black site facility in the outer reaches. No records, no communications, no trace. And how did a human mercenary discover what our entire intelligence network could not?" The Empress's chief advisor, a scarred Drakari male named HFY, stepped forward with suspicion radiating from his battle-worn frame. Austin met his gaze steadily. "Because I wasn't looking for a princess. I was looking for a fellow soldier." He reached into his jacket slowly, aware of the dozen plasma weapons now tracking his movement, and pulled out a battered data chip. 3 months ago, I was hired to extract someone else from that same facility. Corporate espionage thing. Not important. But while I was mapping their systems, I found something odd. A prisoner with no designation, held in maximum isolation, but receiving medical care way above what they gave anyone else. "You risked a second infiltration based on a hunch." Dexver's tone was incredulous. "Not just a hunch." Austin's jaw tightened. "I accessed her cell's surveillance for 30 seconds before their eyes caught me. 30 seconds was enough. I saw her, saw the treatment, saw the experiments they were running." The Empress's scales flashed to crimson. "What experiments?" "Regeneration studies, cognitive endurance, pain threshold mapping." Austin's voice went flat, professional, the only way he could discuss what he'd seen. "The Korvax are trying to engineer soldiers who can match Drakari durability. They needed a test subject. A royal one gave them the purest genetic baseline." Megan's hand tightened on Austin's shoulder, and he could feel her trembling. He'd carried her for the last 6 kilometers to the extraction point after her legs had given out. She probably weighed half what she should, but she'd refused to stop moving until they were off that cursed rock. "Why?" The Empress looked at Austin with her luminous eyes, and for the first time since entering the throne room, he saw past the monarch to the mother. "Why would a human risk everything for my daughter? We are not allies. Your people barely tolerate ours." Austin was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled up his sleeve, revealing a jagged scar that ran from wrist to elbow. "Battle of Kronos Station. 5 years ago, I was pinned down, ammunition depleted, bleeding out from shrapnel wounds. A Drakari squad was falling back through my position. They could have left me. Should have, tactically speaking." He glanced at Megan, who was staring at him with recognition slowly dawning in her golden eyes. "But their lieutenant stopped, threw me over her shoulder and carried me 3 clicks to the evac zone while under heavy fire. Didn't know my name, didn't know my species had a peace treaty with her people or not. She just saw a soldier who needed help." Austin's voice grew rough. That lieutenant was Princess Megan. The throne room was silent, except for the humming of the climate systems. "I didn't remember you," Megan whispered. "So many soldiers, so much chaos. You weren't supposed to remember. You were supposed to live, lead your people, and win this damn war." Austin finally let himself smile, tired and genuine. "But when I saw you in that cell, I knew I had a debt to pay. Humans might be stubborn, prideful, and occasionally stupid, but we pay our debts. Always." The Empress studied Austin for a long moment, her eyes cycling through colors he couldn't interpret. Then, slowly, she placed one clawed hand on his shoulder, the same gesture of trust Drakari warriors shared before battle. You have given me back what I thought was lost forever, Austin of humanity. This debt cannot be repaid with mere words or wealth. I don't want payment, Your Majesty. Austin straightened, despite his exhaustion. I want an end to this war. I want humans and Drakari fighting together against the Korvax instead of wasting resources watching each other. And I think Princess Megan's return could be the symbol both our peoples need. Megan stepped forward, finally releasing Austin's shoulder and standing on her own, though she wavered. He's right, Mother. I've seen what the Korvax are becoming, what they're building, and I've seen what one human was willing to do for a debt 3 years old. She turned to look at Austin. Imagine what our people could accomplish if we stood together. The Empress looked between her daughter and the scarred human veteran, and for the first time in 3 years, something like hope flickered in her ancient eyes. Very well, she said. Let us see if the bonds forged in war can be stronger than the prejudices that divide us. Austin nodded, finally allowing himself to feel the bone-deep weariness. He'd done it, against all odds, against tactical logic, against every voice that told him to leave well enough alone. He'd done it, because that's what humans did. They paid their debts, kept their promises, and never left a soldier behind, not even when that soldier had scales instead of skin.